why you might be having problems finding your purpose and sticking to it. One of the areas around lining up to our soul's purpose, to our mission, to our innate soul's desire, we might have insights, we might have remembrance, we might have done a lot of personal development or healing. But what one doesn't realize is often we can't take the role of our heart, our soul. We can't create our life from the role that is truly our soul's desire, or our in alignment with our energy frequencies of our blueprint being that of our soul's overlay, and the overlay of the personality and the experience that we come to be in the unique expression of God, Source Creator that we are. That this overlay, this soul's blueprint that we create and hold, often gets confused with our conditioning. It gets confused with who we're meant to be and what we're meant to experience. And from the human lens, what we do is we place a lot of roles on top of our life. We end up playing a lot of roles for people. We end up putting ourselves in a lot of responsibility that is actually not true to our sacred heart and to our soul's purpose. So our soul's purpose is what gives us the abundance, the prosperity, the desire to wake up every day, the desire to continue this path, this journey, the desire to move through the experience and create the vision. It's what inspires the chi. It's what makes us move through those hurdles, those resistance blocks. And what that is that when we take on a role or a responsibility that is not our soul's purpose, it's like having extra weight. It's literally like wearing backpacks. It's like putting rocks in a backpack and putting them on your shoulders. And you have so much heaviness, so much density, so much contraction, so much blindness because you can't see into the forefront of the future. You can't see forward if you've taken on more than is true for your sacred heart or for your soul's mission, your soul's purpose. Now, your divinely guided soul plan is not the same as your heart's sacred source soul plan. Some of us have been given responsibility. Some of us have been given a purpose, and this is not necessarily the purpose that we desire to live. It's something that was placed upon us. And so it's important to see this happens ethereally and also physically. Physically, how does it happen? When we take on a role of a mother, and perhaps we didn't actually want to have a child and we accidentally fell pregnant, and because of society we didn't feel that we could go through with terminating the pregnancy, and so instead we take on the role of mother, even though we know in our sacred heart's truth that we never wanted a child. And therefore there's a heaviness, there's a wrongness, there's resentment, there's anger, and there's all of these different feelings that happen that are detrimental for the child and also for the mother. Then there's areas of when we take on the role of being the healer for someone, or the rescuer, or we take on more work than is actually true for our sacred heart, or we take on work that is not aligned to our sacred heart. Perhaps we take on a masculine role and we're a woman. Perhaps we take on the role of the masculine and yet we desire a more feminine expression as a man. All of these things will prevent you from being able to create from your purpose, because you're taking on all of these different roles and responsibilities that hold you down energetically, that take your chi, that take your life force, that take your energy, that dysregulate you, that disassociate you, that take you into a level of disconnection from that of what is true in your being. And so I see many initiates go through and realize that they have taken on far more than they can handle, far more than they can chew, and they are in this space of ethereally, they're either whipping themselves through the ethereal spiritual realms, quantum leaping, doing all of this ethereal work in their sleep, in their meditation. They're taking on all that they can in their physical, and they're in energetic overload. They are so unable to manage their human experience, or they're super fatigued, irritable, or they are in mood swings because their physical human being cannot cope or handle it. It cannot be able to manage what is moving through the system. And so there is a level of recognizing, okay, what is it that is actually taking from my purpose? What beliefs have I got that are taking me from the very thing that I desire to create my life from? My sacred heart's desire means living a life that I desire and creating service and contribution and love and offerings from my sacred heart's truth. Now, if you're a man, for instance, that's going against traditional masculine roles, and you're taking on a role of trying to be a provider, a protector, and your energy system is actually keyed and coded and desiring to be that of a nurturer, say a healer or a nurse or some kind of physical nurturer in the form of something that is soft and compassionate and might be considered or labeled more feminine, then you're going to feel a complete disconnection from your essence. You're going to feel like you don't enjoy your roles, your job. You feel like you can only be yourself and run from your expression when you're on your own. You might be using these roles as a way to avoid your purpose and your path because you're afraid of judgment, because you're afraid to step into something that is not the traditional way that people would perceive you. That if you are a woman, you're here to lead and you're about to lead a global business, and you've got a judgment that you're going to be too masculine, or this is a role, or I can't cope, or if it would be easier if I was a man, or if you had any of these distortions that are sitting within your field, you're going to find it unable to integrate this into your experience, and you're going to feel the challenge. So what I ask is that you ask yourself, how many roles have you taken on in your 3D experience or even your ethereal experience that don't match your sacred heart's truth? The truth of the essence of the spirit that you be in the physical incarnation in a unified form. How many roles do you play? Do you play a best friend role when really you don't even want that individual in your life anymore because you've outgrown each other? Do you play a role where you feel that you have to be the cleaner or the cooker in your house because that is what the gender role is, and you don't know, and you limit yourself to finding other possibilities, other ways to create experiences that it drains from your chi, your capacity to live, enjoy abundance, prosperity in yourself, that it takes from your relationships in anger and resentment and frustration. These roles will cause you to feel a sense of self-abandonment and deep-seated anger and rage, either at yourself, or at God, because you're wondering why life isn't changing to something that you deeply desire, because these roles are preventing you from opening the space for your purpose to evolve. So if you're having troubles finding your purpose, if you're having troubles creating from your purpose, it's probably because you're actually taking on roles and responsibilities that are not aligned to your sacred truth. If you're creating from your purpose, it's easeful, it's graceful, and these roles will literally take up your container of energy, and they need to be relinquished. You need to give them up and decide that this isn't true for me, or find a way that you can see them from a perspective that you are able to embrace them and see them in a way that you can step out of the conditioned role, the gender-based role, or the role that mutates your ability to see the truth and to create from the sacred heart. Doesn't mean that you give everything up. It just means sometimes that you change the perspective of it. Some things you will have to say, I can't do this anymore. This is actually not my truth. And other things that will just require you to meet an aspect of your belief system so that you can make space to be on purpose the way your sacred heart desires. So in reflection, being aware, if you can't find your purpose, what roles are you playing into that aren't aligned to what it is that God, source creator from within you, has created for you? I love you, beautiful souls. If you liked this, please like and subscribe, and follow any links below to join our communities and other training sessions. I love you. Ahava.